Bart Hall, my God, I can't tell you how good it is to see you, my friend. It's been too long.
You know, you look good. I don't look so
You
good.
look great.
The last time we see, you look much better than I do.
I walked around China 300 or 400 times when I was there. I looked at these Chinese people, Bart, and I said, you are all so skinny, I'm just going to copy what you do. So I adopted their diet and then started walking like 8 miles a day.
Well, you look great, man.
You do too.
And I've been seeing all your stuff on social media.
Thank you.
You've, as an old guy, you captured the new stuff and you're using it well.
I'll tell you, that's why I have no hair left. but it's been fun. And Friedman Adventures, yeah, I came back and Mike Morrison from 22nd Street 2 years ago brought me back here. He said, you thinking about doing a podcast? I go, well, I don't know what else to do. I can't go back to China. And he goes, how would you like this to be your studio?
Isn't this great?
Yeah.
You walk out that door and there's all those boats.
Right.
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
It's perfect. Captains are in and out of here all the time, so we get the info and everything else.
Yeah.
You know, can I start by saying something?
Sure.
Some of the best years of my life were spent at the Fred Hall Show. It was something as a kid before I got into this industry I always looked forward to. And then when I got involved with your father, Bud Frillo, I don't know if you remember when we brought Bud to the show, and your wife and your mother and everybody, it meant so much to me. And Bart, I think you could find thousands of people who would say the very same thing. Sam De La Torre, talking to him from Island Fishing Tackle last night, said, you tell Bart for me that I hope and pray everybody comes out and supports the new show, the Bart Hall Show, because you have done so much for this industry for so many decades, and I feel exactly the same way. And I know you're going to be a big success. You put your mind to something, I know how hard you work at it.
That's a humbling opening for here, I'll tell you. But Sam is a great guy, number one, and Sam believes, like I believe, that the important thing that we do when we do this, you know, when you go fishing, when you start as a kid, you go with one of your parents, or maybe both your parents, and maybe your family, maybe a couple buddies, then you go on a 6-pack, maybe you get on a boat with 20 people, maybe a boat with 40 people. Wow. You walk in to the Long Beach Convention Center and there's 10,000 people who think just like you think.
Wow.
And you go, I get chills just thinking about it now.
Yeah, right.
The community, it's how the community comes together. And I'm going to tell you something. This is a story I don't tell often, but the day my father died, it was Saturday of Long Beach. And I called Pete Gray's show because it was that morning.
Yeah.
And Pete, Fred Hall passed away today. And so we go off to the convention center. I had to get there for the show, you know, and they tried to put us in this room with all these flowers and cards and crap, and I couldn't do that. So I'm out there. I got to walk the floor.
Yep.
That day, hundreds of people came to me. And when that happens, you know it's only the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
You don't see everybody. They said, I caught my first fish at this show. My kids caught their first fish at this show, and today my grandkids are going to catch their first fish at this show. And it just got me thinking about the millions of people that got into fishing through it. Their 1.5 million kids went 100%. Through there. They grew up and had families and married and had other kids, and it was like, you know, it just kind of hit me that day how important it was. And it's not about the business part of it, it's about the community part of it.
Yes.
The fishing industry comes out of the fishing community. So what we need to do is nurture, understand, and respond to the fishing community and celebrate it. And as Mike Lum says, celebrate the passion.
Yes.
You know, if you put celebrate the passion up on the wall of a supermarket, people think you were nuts. But you put celebrate the passion at Long Beach or Delmar, and people are going,
it makes perfect sense.
I got it.
It makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
Because you get to see all your buddies that you fished with, and as you said, it just gets the whole ball rolling with kids. And I don't have to tell you, you got grandkids.
Yeah.
It's more important that kids get outdoors today than it ever has been with these crazy phones and the distractions, to use a euphemism. I could get a lot worse. There's too much stuff that kids can get into now that when they're in the outdoors, it's healthy, it's good for them, it expands their minds, they get into marine biology or who knows what. It's so great and positive for kids.
I've seen it happen because I take my grandkids and their kids, their friends, and they bring their phones. And they're using them for a while. Now we're out there, now we're catching fish. Now, those phones are gone.
Yeah.
And they're talking to each other, and they're laughing, and they're patting each other on the back. You're right. It's more important than ever. You know, the modern age of communication has good sides, but it has many bad sides.
It does.
And
does.
We have to work hard for our kids. I'm glad I'm not a kid right now.
I know, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Let's get right up front. Let's get the dates out. When are the shows? People out there are listening, and you know what? I've had so many phone calls today. They know you're going to be on here, so they're super excited. So, what are the dates? The website, so people can get that information. And then you and I are going to go into exactly what people are going to see at this year's shows.
Well, the website. The dates are different than they have been because. When a lot of stuff happened between COVID and other things, and I lost all the dates.
Yeah.
So I had to reconstruct what I could.
Yes.
I was able to get Del Mar February 16th to the 19th. That's the earliest it's ever been. And then I was able to get Long Beach March 29th to April 2nd. That's the latest it's ever been.
Yeah.
However, the best Del Mar show we ever had was one that happened before the Long Beach show. One year we had it first. So I'm thinking there hasn't been a Hall show in Del Mar in 4 years. There hasn't been a Hall show in California in 3 years. And the first fishing show of the year is February 16th and 19th at the Del Mar Fairgrounds.
Boom.
Off the charts.
Yeah.
That's going to be huge.
Yeah.
And then Long Beach is Long Beach. You know, in 2020, the last one we had, Long Beach was the world's largest consumer fishing show, period.
Wow.
So we're hoping it won't be that way this year, but we will get back there over the next 2 years.
And you need people to come out and support to get back to that point.
We can't,
let's be honest about it.
We cannot get back there unless we get support.
Yeah.
If people come out now, look, I've been very fortunate that the vast majority of the major companies have all reached out and come to me. Now, the last one to show up was Shimano, and that just happened 10 days ago. And I didn't know what was going to happen. But they're taking a larger presence than they've ever had at either show.
That's fantastic.
I know. It's just, I was blown away. I said, guys, I can't thank you enough. Yeah. Well, we want this to come back. That's what they're saying. And the same with Daiwa, and the same with Okuma, and the same with AFCO, and the same with Accurate, and the same with the Vet. Now, you got to remember, I got to all, because of legal issues, I couldn't start till halfway through the year. It takes over a year to produce these shows. So all these companies I got to, all their budgets were gone. They're doing this because they want this to come back.
Yes.
It has
to come back.
This is costing them money because this wasn't in the budget because I wasn't there in time. And so all these companies are just, I just thank them, and we all need to come out as a community and support them. And then in 3 years we'll look back and go, oh, I remember those rough old days. This is like it was in 2020.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I used to laugh with Mike Lum. I used to say, I pull my hair out putting my little booth together, my one little booth, and you guys are in charge of this whole thing. I don't have any idea how you do it.
Well, I have no idea how I do without Mike Lum. he had to take a job, and they asked him, "Are you going back to that show then?" No. So he has a good job. Mike Lum is one of a kind. He cannot be replaced. He is the greatest partner a guy could have, and I miss the hell out of him.
I'll bet. He's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
I love Mike.
I'm going to keep using his phrase, though. Mike, if you're listening, celebrate the passion. I'm going to steal that until I go to the grave. So that was his phrase, and I'm using it. But, yeah, we look forward to seeing him there, coming to the show and just seeing him there.
So what can people expect at the show this year? What kind of stuff is going to be there?
Okay, so when you go to Del Mar, which is going to be first, it's going to look surprisingly the same as it did in 2019.
Wow.
The first room, the O'Brien building, is all full of boats. That's completely sold out. The Bing Crosby Hall, the middle one, is going to look the same. You've got the Kuma Bass bin there. We've got some trailers on one and boats on one side. You've got the Last Chance Performance Marine. You've got the Hobie Seminar Room. You've got Fast Lane Sailing Center there that was there before. Beyond that is the Mammoth Lakes Seminar area. There's archery beyond that. On the other side, you've got the cars and trucks that we used to have on that side. You've got stuff down the middle. It's all the same. You go into that tent that's in the middle. We're going to have actually more Overland products than we've had. We had one there in 2019. Now we'll have a couple in there.
Wow.
And you're going to also have now the Accurate Maine Seminar Stage. Daiwa's going to have a little saltwater stage there. We're going to do some other stuff, interesting stuff in there that I'm not ready to talk about yet because I haven't got finalized, but that's coming.
Good.
And then you walk into the into the exhibit hall, and at first it's going to look exactly the same. You'll have your Rancho Leoneros right there and Shimano's right there.
Beautiful.
And it'll be the biggest Eastern Sierra section we've ever had in Del Mar. It's huge, and we're going to have island tackle over there. We're next to AFCO, and we've got Turners in the corner like you're used to seeing, and Daiwa and Kuma and everybody.
Yeah.
So that one's going to look the same. Now Long Beach is going to look slightly different, and not at first. Same thing. Boats when you walk in. Anglers Marines in the center, like he always is. John Petty's right there selling gold jewelry. You walk in, the CCA's on the left, Pistachio's on the right.
Perfect.
And then you got the whole Eastern Sierra section and the whole left side, with the Parker and the vehicles and all that, and the Mammoth. That's all the same. Now Turners will have moved much closer, and so that's where it's going to start to look different. And Sal Valone from Bob's Tackle is Bob Sands. Is moved closer up. Island Tackle's there in the middle. The Shimano booth is very large, so we've had to move that around. So it'll start to look different there. But at first, when you first walk in, you go, "Oh, this is great. It's perfect."
Yeah. And is there going to be the trout pond? Or are we?
Yes.
Because you mentioned kids caught their first fish at the Fred Hall Show. I'm hoping that's going to be back.
The Mammoth Lakes Kids Fish Free Trout Pond is at both shows. No, if you're under 16, you don't pay to get into a hall show ever. You never will.
How about if you act like you're under 16?
Well,
me?
we have people who do that, and they try to get by. We don't, but you'll get a senior discount.
Perfect. Where'd the years go, Bart?
I know, man.
I still remember when we were, I don't know. I mean,
we were younger.
Oh my God, yeah. Man, we had Bud Frillo up there at that time.
Yeah,
that was so much fun.
That was fun.
Yeah, Bud passed away, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Crazy guy. So, all right, we got the trout, and then
we got up at Long Beach. We've got Ram Ultimate Air Dog. It's Jeep now. The Jeep Ultimate Air Dog.
Oh, so you still have that?
Oh yeah, we got Convict Lakes become a sponsor. John Petty Custom Goldsmith. And if you people don't know about John Petty, he's one of the best anglers I've ever met. Every time we go on a company fishing trip, he wins the jackpot. He's got his own boat. He's out fishing all the time. But he does custom jewelry, and it's a lot like my ring here. You can't see it, but there's some yellowfin on there.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
That's my ring.
I talked to John quite a bit. I'm trying to get him to come in here and do a podcast.
He's fantastic, and he's one of the sponsors, and he and Convict Lake are sponsoring the Great American Duck Races for the kids.
Great.
We've got the casting in the city doing casting contests. A vet will be casting on the lagoon. I'm sure that the other tackle companies will be casting on the lagoon. Hobie's a sponsor. We have the Hobie Kayak Fishing Seminar Theater at both the shows. Then in San Diego, the San Diego County Ford dealers are sponsoring the Paul Bunyan Lumberjack Show.
Oh my God, this sounds exactly the same.
It's going to be very. A lot of the smaller stuff. We're not going to have as many landings. We're not going to have as many of the smaller companies that we had before.
Yeah.
They'll be back next year. It was just too late for them.
Yeah.
But the main stuff, the stuff that catches your eye, the stuff that you want to see when you go, And I was talking to a couple of the major tackle companies just this week. They're all planning to release new product at Del Mar Long Beach.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the seminars. I mean, the Fred Hall Show is a place you can go to have fun, to get your kids interested in the outdoors, but it's a real learning experience on a variety of topics.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be talking about fly fishing in the backcountry to catching stuff off the coast of Australia. It's just we got it all, and it's that's the really fun part for me. And it's the hard part because Mike Lum used to do it. Now I have to do it. Mike, darn you! But
Mike, are you listening?
but I'll tell you, it's that we're going to have a great. Bill Varney has really helped. He's helped to take over that a little bit. As has Pat McDonald, and we're putting together the seminar schedules actually in the next couple of days, making sure they're all correct.
By the way, Bill Varney. Yeah, I know. He kids me all the time. I got it at the Notre Dame game this year. He nailed me on that one.
Well, you saw what happened to our game against, in the bowl game.
Yeah, I did see that.
Lost 25 points in the last couple of minutes. Oh, my God.
Your quarterback, though, is awesome.
He's something.
Man, my God, he's on another level. He's a Heisman Trophy winner. So
yeah, he reminds me a little bit of like Patrick Mahomes,
Yeah,
he's
he
good
does.
in the pocket, but he's good outside of it too.
Yeah.
We'll see. Good for him.
Yeah. So you and I are no spring chickens anymore. I don't have to break that to you, do I?
Is that true?
Your work schedule has got to be insane. It has got to be insane. But you have such a passion and a love for this, and you truly believe, as I do, that this is an important thing. This is an important venture. This is a thing that has gone on for decades. Your father started. And so I'm guessing it's kind of like my work schedule is pretty crazy too, but it doesn't feel like work. I mean, it's work, but it doesn't feel like it.
I haven't worked since the day I quit being a rep. My dad got me. I woke up. I used to be a musician. I was a jazz musician, and I woke up one morning and I lived next door to my dad, and I walked over and said, "Dad, I just decided to quit being a musician." That was in my 30s. And I said, "I want to work for you." He says, "Well, I can't afford you. I can't pay you. But let me make a few calls." Well, a week later, I was working for Don Lee and Bill Kay Lee and Associates. And I was a rep for 5 years. And then my dad called me and said, "Well, I need your help now." And that was the day I quit working, because this is not work.
Right.
This is what I love, and we always did it as whatever we were doing as kids, whether we were in school or a musician or whatever it was, Showtime, we all assembled and we helped put the show on.
Yeah.
And everybody thought we were working. We weren't getting paid for that. Yeah. Dad said, "Come on, help me do this." So you go do that stuff. And
exactly.
That's how it was. And so now, so it just, at this time for me, it is hard because of my age and because I need to have two new knees I have to have replaced.
Yeah.
But it is so satisfying.
Rewarding.
To be, it's unbelievable. It's hard to, I see it in you. I've always felt it in you. You do the same. It's the same exact thing. You're passionate about this. I'm passionate about this.
Yeah.
That's how it works. A lot of people are. We're not alone.
No, that's true.
This is an industry full of people who could make a lot of money doing something else.
Absolutely.
But they do this because they love it and they love being part of the fishing community.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I don't know if you noticed when you walked in, but we have like 500 bags out there of clothing. 500 is a little exaggerated, but we're shipping to Mexico on a constant basis.
You're still doing that. You've been doing that your whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I was, you're a Catholic guy, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah. So, when I was 19, my parents said, "You are going to Costa Rica with Father Ignatius, and you're going to go teach for free." And I said, "Okay."
Sure.
I didn't think it was such a good idea. It's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
And then I went to Mexico and did the same. So we're still doing that. Sometimes, Bart, I'm like, oh my, this is like a full-time job. What have I done to myself here? But once again, man, you go down to an orphanage or you see, and it also helps me when I'm feeling sorry, like, oh my God, I'm working so many hours, not making that much in my life. You go down and you see a kid, beautiful kid that doesn't have a mother or father, or their mother and father are addicted to drugs and can't take care of them, and you go, wow, am I a big jerk.
And then they say, thank you, God, for letting me do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
100%.
Yeah.
Can we go over just a little bit of the history? Because there's young people out there who are listening, and you're coming to the show. I'm going to be up there walking around all day long. I'm going to be doing podcasts from the show. I'm going to be promoting. Can you give them a little bit of the history? How long has this been going on? Who started it? You know, the whole thing.
Well, first of all, before I start that,
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I got a text last night, late, from one of the major manufacturers, and they said, your online advertising is outstanding. And I went, well, good. It has nothing to do with me, but I have a really good young team that I'm working with. I want to introduce you to with the shows.
That's funny.
Anyway, yeah. So my father, he was kind of 4F in the Second World War, but he wanted to do something. So he was an athlete in college, and he got hurt, and there was some things that the Army didn't like from whatever. So he was the instructor for the Army Air Corps. He taught navigation and theory of flight. And toward the end of the war, that was phasing out, and so he came back to Los Angeles. And in '44, he got a job with a company called Crowd Management Incorporated. And they did ushers, ticket sellers, and gatemen for all the sporting events that were in LA. And the Rams were here. I think the Rams were here.
Uh-huh.
Dodgers weren't here, but there was the Hollywood Stars. They did the boxing at the Olympic Auditorium. They did wrestling. They did the racetracks. So Santa Anita,
Hollywood
Park.
Yeah,
they did all that stuff. So, but my dad grew up on the beaches of Florida as a young kid, running along the shore and knocking pompano up and throwing them in his wagon and taking them to Uncle Joe's to sell, fish to him and catching fish with a can with a string around it, and go diving for lobster, and he'd sell them to these fish markets. So he said, why don't we do something for sportsmen? And why don't we do a sportsman show? And his boss, Mel Morrison, who ended up being my godfather, he said, what the hell's a sportsman show? It was 1944. So I was born in June of 45, and in April of 46, the first sportsman show took place at Gilmore Stadium, which was an oval dirt track where they did midget racing. They had telephone poles that went up in the air with lights on them. And my dad looked at it and he said, well, I don't like the way this looks. So he got some sawdust. He had it dyed green. He threw the sawdust all around the track, put up all these tents, and there was an outdoor show. And for the first 3 days, it was great. And then it rained.
Oh,
and then a dye came out of the sawdust and get everybody's shoes and socks.
Oh,
and
no.
We've laughed about that our whole lives. That was so funny. A couple years later, moved across the road to the Pan Pacific Auditorium. Was there for about a dozen years. That's where the show started to get famous. Then Mel Morrison, my godfather, died, and the two partners, my dad and H. Warner Buck, split. H. Warner Buck went to the new Anaheim Convention Center. My dad went to the Great Western Exhibit Center.
Yep.
And then it started to evolve. And he had RVs at that time. Then he got rid of the RVs. He just wanted to do the Western Fishing Tackle and Fishing Boat Show. That's what he wanted to do. So that's what he called it. That's what he did. Was there for quite a while. Then decided, went to the LA Sports Arena for 1 year. The Long Beach Convention Center was just opening. Got in there, only took one haul, didn't take the lobby, and was still, at that point, it was shortly after that I joined him, and I said, okay, let's call it the Western Fishing Tackle and Boat Show, not Fishing Boat Show. We can add different kinds of boats.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Then a few years later, I went, okay. Now, during this time, there was lots of other competing shows that were trying to get into this market.
Yes.
But my dad was always the one that were the best. And so people would say, well, I'm going to that sportsman show. And they say, which one are you going to? Well, I'm going to that Fred Hall show. I'm going to that show produced by Fred Hall.
Yeah.
So I said, Dad, we need to call this the Fred Hall show. Oh, no, we're not going to call it the Fred Hall show. I said, trust me, just get one time, 1 year.
He didn't want to make it about himself.
No.
Yeah.
So, well, we did, and that was a grand slam home run. I'm a marketing genius.
Did he give you any credit for that?
Hell no.
I knew that.
No. And so it went on and on and on and on and on, and it was just. And then we were in Del Mar. We've been down in we started at Golden Hall in Del Mar down there for a couple of years, then moved to the fairgrounds. So we've been in the San Diego market 44 years, but we've been up here in the Southern California, LA market for this will be our 75th year.
Are you kidding?
So Ginny's put together a special thing.
Your wife.
Yeah, Turner's Outdoorsman is sponsoring it, and it's going to be a celebration of 75 years of Hall Shows in Southern California. It's a lot of fun. A lot of old cartoons of my dad in the LA Times and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think people will enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, the guys from the Manzanar Fishing Club gave you so much credit because you supported them throughout their venture. I narrated part of that film, so I felt very blessed and honored to do that. And they always talk about how they really are so thankful to you for what you did to help get that important historical issue out in front of the public.
Well, it's just what we do, isn't it?
Yeah, that is an incredible story too, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It really is. And I had friends that were involved in that,
Yeah.
So I was close to that. So yeah.
A mutual friend of ours I talked to the other day wanted me to send his very best to you. Said he can't wait to go to the show. You want to take a guess who that might be?
With all the people,
No.
No.
Well, okay, let me narrow it down for you.
Okay.
He played ball for the LA Lakers.
Oh, Brian
Shaw.
Oh, God, I love that guy.
I know, right?
I love that guy, man.
He would call me and say, "When's the Fred Hall show this year? I'm trying to see if we're in town or out of town or what. I've got to come to the show." And he came all the time.
He would call me. They would be practicing down there, somewhere down the South Coast. They'd have their practice. And he'd call me and said, "Practice ends at 4:45. Can you get me in?" I said, "Okay, what time do you think you'll be here?" "I think I'll be there about almost 6. I said, "I'll meet you out front." And I'd meet him out front at 6. He'd go through.
No.
Yeah. He loves it. Oh, this is great. He probably never told you this. So now he's already playing ball. He's actually in the middle of he's already multi-billionaire. He used to jump the fence of the reservoir up. So there's some tragedy in Brian's life, as you know.
Oh,
yeah.
Then he overcame it and is such an inspiration.
And he took care of the children of his sister who died.
A remarkable man.
Remarkable, just remarkable, and lived in 2 cities so that he could do that properly.
My kids went to high school with his kids.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, what a small world, right? Before I got to know him.
So now he's up there with his sister's child, and so while he's there, he likes to fish. He would jump the fence.
That did surprise me.
At the reservoir and go fish for largemouth bass. And the cops would come by and go in the loudspeaker, "Brian, get out of there!" and he go, "I'll be there in a minute."
That does not surprise me one bit, Bart.
He's a great guy.
He's a great guy, and he's got a passion for fishing.
He does.
We went down to Palmas de Cortez together, his first trip to Mexico. Great time. We had just a memorable time.
Please say hi.
I will. Definitely.
I got him right here on my cell phone.
He might show up. Who knows? It wouldn't surprise me. I'm definitely going to push him toward doing that.
He's really a great guy. And then I introduce him to people, and they get all crazy,
I know, right? And
I just know him as a fisherman, So
and he's so down to earth.
Down to earth.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Just a real person.
Would you recommend that people bring someone that isn't into outdoors or fishing, but you want to get them into it? Is this the place to bring them and expose them?
This is the best place.
Isn't it?
It's the only. Number one of the reasons that we have all that entertainment that we have, and the cooking demonstrations and all that. My dad said a long time ago, we want the families here.
Right.
I don't want this to be just a boys' club. I want the families here, and we're not going to get the families here if we don't get the moms and the kids. So we got to do everything we can to make the family have a good time. And so the difference between us and other sportsman shows is our goal is to provide a full day's worth of family entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, the hundreds of seminars are good, and all the tackle is good, and all that's good, but all that other stuff that lets people have a good time as a family and create family memories is what we're looking for.
So important.
It is.
Yeah. And I hear it all the time. I hear families who go on a Wednesday when the show opens and they go, I didn't get to see half of the show. I got to go back again.
Yeah, I know. It won't be as big this year. You
Gotcha.
know, I don't want to fool people and tell them that it will be, but it will be by next year.
Your honesty is deeply appreciated, and so people don't have expectations, and people should know that. But it's still going to be darn good.
Yes, it's still going to be the best thing around. But they will have expectations, and I know they'll compare it. But they just have to understand a lot has happened. Everybody wants to participate next year. I have had hundreds of calls in the last 2 weeks. I want to be there next year. I want to be there next year. I said, okay. I hope I'm here next year, but yeah.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, but it's been really good. All the major stuff that you want to see is there, and all the great deals are going to be there. Turner's is going to be there with great deals, and Bob Sands will be there with great deals, and Island Tackle and several others of the smaller retailers will be there, and it'll be there's going to be a lot of great deals to be had, a lot of great information passed out, a lot of fun for kids, and you know it's just going to be. It's going to be really great to be back in it again.
Yeah, thank God, because we missed you. We really did.
I missed just the whole thing. You know?
Yeah. The difference between Del Mar and Long Beach used to be, I don't know if I can put this into words as well as you probably can, but it was like Long Beach is on steroids. It's just full rack. It's crazy. Del Mar is like you can actually, spend some time with the people there, and it's a little more low key. But it's still a fantastic show. In fact, I almost got to the point where I like Del Mar better because at Long Beach, you're like, hey, thanks for, your support. It's just, so crazy. Del Mar, you got to have a conversation and get to know people. And you think it's going to be similar this year?
That's exactly it. That's exactly how I feel. Del Mar for me is my favorite show because I get to actually visit with people. I get to actually see the people who are my customers.
Yeah.
Long Beach, there's no way. I'm up at 4 in the morning and I'm to bed at 2 at night, and I just, it doesn't happen. But I think this year Del Mar is going to be much busier than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Because of all the circumstances surrounding it. And
that's February
16th to the 19th.
Yeah.
So it's the first fishing show in Southern California in 2023, and the first Hall Show back in San Diego in 4 years, and the first Hall Show in California in 3 years. So there's going to be a lot of interest and a lot of stuff, and it's going to look very similar to how it did in 2019. Not exactly, but very similar. And like I said, Long Beach will look more different because there was nothing like Long Beach. Long Beach was the largest consumer tackle show on the planet, and it takes a full year to put it together, and we have not had that full year to put it together.
Right.
So we can't do it, but it's still going to be the best thing there is in Southern California.
And you've already mentioned that for next year, you got all these people lining up. It's going to go back to almost normal next year.
I believe next year will be. I believe next year will be out of space.
Yeah.
And so that's it. And Phil, as we're sitting here talking now, until Long Beach is still almost at least 6 weeks away, right? 2 months, almost 2 months away. There is a lot happening. I had over 24 calls coming while I was driving down here today.
Yeah.
And that's what happens every day. So it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And by the time we get there, it's going to be huge.
Is the time going by way faster for you that you've gotten older?
Why does that happen?
What the hell?
Why does that happen?
I think because we have so little time left, right?
Yeah, when you're younger, you think, I got all this time.
Yeah, you got like summer vacation in school and it went on forever. Now, the seasons, like we're in winter now, we're going to be in spring, summer, fall, New Year again. It's amazing.
I know. It goes very, very quickly. And that scares me a little bit, but it's this has been fun.
Yeah.
I do not want to get complaining about the workload, because it's like what I was saying to you before we went on there. This is not work.
Right.
This is what it's fun.
I learned something about your mother, who played an integral part in the shows, that she was quite an athlete.
She was a pro. My mother made her living as a pro athlete. She was, before she got married, for 5 years, she was a ice skater in the Shipstead and Johnson Ice Follies, and she actually worked her way up out of the chorus to be one of their featured skaters.
Wow.
Dancing with one of their featured male skaters.
That's crazy.
She taught herself how to skate on Lake Superior with some ice skates she got from a Goodwill store, because they had no money.
Right.
They had no money for lessons, and she taught herself how to skate. Turns out she was a fabulous athlete. She was in a bowling league with my father, and she carried a 220 average. And she had to bowl with the men because she couldn't bowl with the women, because she
Blow them away.
She was just so much better than everybody.
She'd blow
else.
me away too.
She was really a great athlete.
So kind of almost a Horatio Alger kind of rags to riches.
Yeah, she was a musician too. She had perfect pitch, and she taught herself how to play the piano, and she was really an interesting lady.
You mentioned you were a musician. What did you play?
Oh, I played the tools of ignorance, drums and percussion.
You did? Yeah. Something you can pound on, right?
Yeah.
Did you play, what kind of music did you play? Rock and roll? Or?
No, well, I played everything, because I was like a studio musician in Hollywood,
yeah.
which I have no idea why. I never had a lesson in my life. Remember, I went to have a lesson once after I was already established in Hollywood and working quite a bit. And I went to supposedly the best teacher, and I was in there 15 minutes, and he said, "Get the hell out of here."
Really?
Yeah. And it's just something I could do. I don't know why.
Why did you lose interest in it? It wasn't your passion.
It wasn't interest. I was going to be a professional football player. I was the best football player in the Valley when I was in high school, and then I played Division I football, and I was going on to play.
Where'd you play, at SC?
No, I ended up playing at the University of New Mexico. But I went there because they'd sent 11 guys to the pros the year before. So I'm in there, and I'm ready to go. And then I got hurt, and so then that's over.
What position did you play? You were an offensive guard?
You'll never guess. No.
Hold on.
No.
Now that you say that, you were probably a tight end, or...
I was a wide receiver.
Yeah, I was going to say, or a wide receiver or something.
Right. I actually went both ways in the first couple of years in college.
Played defense and offense?
I played strong safety and wide receiver.
Wow.
But I played music since I was 10. I just did it naturally. It's just something I do also play piano, but that's so anyway. I'm going on, and I'm thinking, well, okay, I'm just gonna go be a pro football player. And then I got hurt, and then that was no good. So I came back to go to school, and then people were calling me, "Do you want to play music?" And I'm, well, sure, I'll make a little money doing this and doing that, and all of a sudden, I'm a full-time musician.
Wow!
I had the ability to make others sound good. That was the reason that I can hear. I have real good ears.
Yeah. And
I was able to, and so jazz music worked well because it's improvisational, and because I could hear, I could understand where they were going, and I did. I played with a lot of famous people, and but at one point I was working all the time. When I went to talk to my dad that morning, I was working 7 days a week.
Yeah.
But I said it was not a good lifestyle to be a father.
Okay. Yeah, you're out at night.
And I'm gone. I'm going here.
On the road.
6 weeks here, 8 weeks there. I said, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I want to be with my children when they're growing up.
Great. Fantastic.
So I quit.
Yeah.
Nobody believed me. I got calls for years. I got this job. I said, I've retired. You haven't retired. I said, yes, I have.
I'm done.
I'm done, yeah.
Is CCA doing their thing where if you join CCA?
Yeah, they are. It's a slightly larger package because they had to raise their national dues, and we have to pay the national out of what we do here. But yeah, join CCA in front, you get in free. But more than that, CCA is really heavily involved right now, Phil, in this 30 and 30 stuff.
Oh my God! Maybe you could explain that to everybody.
Well, I want to. The best person to explain it is Wayne Koto or Chris Archietta. But what's happening is the state of California has decided they're going to close 30% of the ocean to fishing. Well, what they haven't figured out is between what they previously closed and the federal closures, we're already over 30%.
Yeah.
We don't need to do anymore. but they're not counting the federal closures, so they're going to close more than they already have. So now, and they don't close the sandy bottom part. They
Right.
close the part where the fish live.
Yeah, right.
Right. So it's a big deal. And if we don't stop this now, Phil, our access to fishing in the ocean will be severely impacted, probably forever. And we have time to do it. And right now, we're not even at the table. We have no representatives there to give our opinion. It's only the governor and the extremists who are mapping out this deal. All we want is just hear us.
Yeah.
Look, I want good fishing for my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, my great-great-grandchildren, all the way down. I want fishing to continue forever. I am a conservationist. We were part of the reason we got the gill nets banned.
Yeah, exactly.
The Hall Shows were a big part of that deal.
Huge. I remember those displays there.
And I want to conserve, but sport fishermen don't impact the resource.
Exactly.
I mean, we just don't. There's not enough of us. And so, and I've never kept a calico bass in my life. Bill Poole did, but I didn't.
I've kept a few.
I haven't. I release them all.
My son Philip's with you.
I release them all. And so, we have the ability to do that. And this 30 and 30 thing is really important. So if you can contact CCA, go to ccacal.org. Yes, there it is. And join thousands of other anglers in California and become a member. The more members we have, the bigger voice we have in California. They're not going to listen. Now, Newsom wants to be president. We can put a lot of pressure on him as an organization, but we have to have members. So please, guys, if you can, join CCA.
It strikes me that this 30-30 and a lot of this stuff is really very regressive. It hurts the little guy more than it hurts the guy with the $1 million yacht who can just drive to somewhere else or get on a plane and fly somewhere. But the guy that wants to take his 2 kids fishing and he's on a lower income, this is what hurts him. And Teddy Roosevelt, who of course started all the national park stuff, his whole plan was not to create a national park and then, wish all the deers and the trout good luck, have fun. His whole thing was that should be for the common man to enjoy. That's what he thought it was, and we're going to lose that. We're going to lose these, these poor kids that I was talking to a guy the other day, couldn't afford to take his grandson fishing that often. So what's he do? He goes, he's going to do surf fishing and stuff. If they start closing that, he's done.
Absolutely.
He's done.
That's exactly what's happening. They don't care. The rich politicians don't care.
Don't get me started.
The elitists who are these extremists who want to close everything, they are all rich people.
Yeah.
And they don't care.
Right.
It's the average guy who's taking it in the shorts from this stuff. We need to rise up. I don't mean rise up.
You got to be careful what you say now.
I know. But we need to band together so our voices are heard. There are ways to ensure that the fish populations are healthy without closing access.
Right.
You can still fish in an area and have catch and release. Commercial guys can't. Sport fishermen can.
Right.
So it's just beyond me how it's gotten so completely out of hand. We're the only state that's doing it.
Yeah.
No other state is doing
this. This state's doing a lot of crazy stuff, isn't it?
I know. It is just nuts.
So if you were going to look out there at everybody and you're going to make a case for them to attend the Bart Hall shows, I almost said it's been a long time, right? What would you tell them? Go ahead, tell them.
I want you to come out and share with your brothers and sisters in the fishing community as we gather together to celebrate fishing and to celebrate our passion. And this is the best place to do it. I don't care if you buy anything there. Now, all the manufacturers are going to hate me for saying that, but I really don't. That's not what it's about. What it's about is assembling as a community and sharing the passion of fishing and just having a good time with our families. We want you to come out with your families and spend a full day with us for a full day of family fun.
I'm with you on that one. Anything else that we didn't cover? Is there anything else that
I'm sure there is.
I know, right? Well, we can do this again, right?
Yeah, sure.
You don't mind driving through all that traffic and
I actually
rain?
don't. To come see you, I would go. This is nothing. This was great. I was so excited to come. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know, because I ran off to China, and then, you know what? I got to tell you, for me, this is almost, it's an emotional little reunion, because you played a huge part in my life. So did your father, your mom, and all the many decades that I drove you crazy sometimes there.
You didn't drive me crazy. You might have driven Mike crazy.
Yeah, Mike, I did get him a few times. But Mike was always so understanding. And you know, I mean, the Laker girls and Brian Shaw and all the great memories that I have of the show. I'm so thrilled that you're back. I'm so thrilled, and I'm convinced. No one's going to convince me that this won't be a great success.
Well, this is emotional for me too. You almost got me teary there a little while ago, but you know, yeah, it's just great, Phil, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm nervous as hell. I got to tell you, but my wife says, "Oh, you're always like that." There would be days before Long Beach, like 3 hours, 4 hours before the show. You know, no one's coming, no one's standing in line, no one's getting in line 4 hours ahead of time, and I would stand there and I go, "Nobody's coming today." They all just look at me and they just ignore me. They just ignore me. I have this thing, you know.
It's just that you want it to be so good,
I
right?
want it to be so good. I don't. And my father taught me a long time ago, you do not say you have something if you don't. And so I want to make sure that I fulfill as many expectations as I can. And so that's really important to me.
How much of this has to do with you honoring your father? Does it? I mean, you don't want to let this go because of all the hard work he did and you did together as a family. I'm sure that pushes you to strive for excellence in this also and keep it going.
I would rather have gone to my grave calling this the Fred Hall Shows.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. But legally, I cannot do that.
Yes.
So now it's the Bart Hall Shows.
I'm glad you explained that in case somebody out there is thinking, "Oh, what does this say?" You had to call it the Bart Hall. There's a legal reason.
There's a legal reason. I don't want to get into it, but
right.
that's the reason. I would much rather have honored my father until the day I died.
Yeah.
And I will still honor him the way.
Of
course. You're gonna see in our 75th thing that Jenny put together, this area. You're gonna see pictures of my dad and my mom and everybody and you, and there's all kinds of stuff in there, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And there's a video that runs about 12 minutes, and it's really cool.
Bart, my friend, it was so good to see you.
It was, Phil.
It really was. Well, I'll be seeing you at the shows, and we can do this again. You know, if you feel like coming out here in 3 weeks or something. Let's do it again. And
as we get closer, maybe we should. We'll
think so.
Update, see what's going on. Yeah.
And I'll be talking, hopefully, John Petty. I'll have him on and some other people. Sam De La Torre is a regular guy on our show. So we'll keep it rolling. And once again, continued success. I hope this all comes to fruition for you. And most importantly, I mean, I love you. But for all those people out there, their moms and dads, maybe the kids now have never experienced it. It's so important for them. That's the people that I'm so happy about this continuing. It's the kickoff to fishing.
Yeah.
It always has been.
Each year. Yeah.
And every single Fred Hall show, I remember one time in particular, Bobby Taft from the Top Gun walked up to me and goes, "Hey, we got 100 albacore today." And I go, "What? Really? This early?" And he's like, "Yeah, can we do an interview real quick?" And I go, "Yeah, let's go. We'll go out in my car and do it." And then the buzz, the electricity around the show, you could feel it.
I know.
It was palpable.
Albacore coming back.
Oh my God! I've been predicting albacore for the last 3 years, and everybody's like, I'm I'm being mocked all the time.
Big movement of water.
Yeah, you think? I think so too.
Yeah,
actually.
that's what I just heard. So it's possible.
Oh, you did?
I did. Yeah, big movement of water. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Bart, the website one more time, and the date. So let's hit that one more time.
So Del Mar The Bart Hall Show at the Del Mar Fairgrounds is February 16th to the 19th.
Okay, that's right around the corner.
Right around the corner. The Bart Hall Show at the Long Beach Convention Center is March 29th to April 2nd. That's 5 days. And our website is hallshows.com. hallshows.com.
Perfect. Love you, Bart.
You too, Phil.
I can't wait to see you at the show. Thanks for coming all the way out here, and let's do it again really, really soon.
Looking forward to it.